Have you ever felt a love so intense, so soul-deep, that even their silence speaks volumes? Maybe you're currently sitting in that very silence. No texts, no calls, no closure. Just that ache in your chest and 1,000 unanswered questions circling your mind. You're wondering if this connection is real. Why does it feel like they've disappeared? You feel them in your dreams, sense them in your energy. Yet in the physical world, all you hear is the echo of absence. This confusion, this emotional limbo, is one of the most agonizing parts of the twin flame journey. And you're not alone in it. In this video, we're not just going to talk about the silence. You'll come to understand it. We'll uncover why your twin flame pulls away, why communication suddenly stops, and why this distance is not a sign of rejection, but a sacred phase of transformation. We'll help you decode the deeper meaning behind the quiet. You'll see how this silence is not the end of your story, but the part where the soul begins to rewrite itself in preparation for divine reunion. By the end of today's video, you'll no longer view the silence as abandonment. You'll recognize it as a spiritual initiation. You'll shift from anxiety to clarity, from heartbreak to understanding. You'll learn how to ground yourself in your own energy, how to trust the invisible bond, and most importantly, how to stop chasing and start aligning. This isn't just about them. It's about you becoming the version of yourself who no longer fears the silence, but honors it as the sacred space where love evolves. So if you've ever felt the ache of invisible strings, if you've questioned your worth in the middle of their silence, this video was made for you. Stay with us until the very end, because what you're about to discover might just be the key to your next breakthrough. And if something in this message already stirs your soul, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Now, let's begin with the pulse beneath the stillness. Number 1. The mirror that shatters comfort. Why do twin flames often retreat the moment they recognize each other? Why does such a powerful connection spark a reaction that looks like fear, avoidance, even abandonment? The truth lies not in the absence of love, but in the overwhelming intensity of what is reflected back. A twin flame is not just someone who mirrors your light. They reflect the whole of you. Your unhealed wounds, your hidden insecurities, your long-buried traumas, everything you've carefully concealed behind smiles and stories suddenly rise to the surface under their gaze. This isn't a storybook romance with soft music and happy montages. It's a spiritual reckoning. A twin flame acts like a sacred mirror that doesn't flatter or filter. It reveals the deepest roots of your pain, the shame you've carried across lifetimes, the illusions you've built to feel safe. And here's the twist. You are doing the exact same for them. You expose their wounds as deeply as they expose yours. Love, in this connection, stops feeling like a sanctuary and starts feeling like a storm. There's a reason your heart races when you're with them, not just with excitement, but with a primal sense of danger. It feels like standing at the edge of an emotional cliff, not knowing whether the next step will send you soaring or send you crashing. That kind of raw intimacy, the soul-naked kind, can feel unbearable. It's not that you don't love each other. It's that love, this deep, ancient kind of love, demands everything. No masks, no edits, no walls, just truth. So we flinch, we run, we vanish into silence, or construct rational excuses to justify the distance. But beneath all of that avoidance isn't rejection. It's fear. Fear of being seen so completely that there's nowhere left to hide. Fear that someone might actually understand you, wholly and without condition. And yet, that's the very medicine the soul craves. To be known, to be mirrored, not in perfection, but in truth. The twin flame journey doesn't begin when you fall in love. It begins when the illusion of comfort shatters and the real work of soul recognition begins. Before we dive deeper, take a breath and sit with this truth. Has someone ever looked at you and seen right through the layers you didn't even realize you were hiding behind? Has love ever felt so real, so raw, that it made you want to run instead of stay? These are the moments that shape the twin flame journey. Not the romance, but the reckoning. If this message resonates with you, we'd love to hear your experience. Share your thoughts in the comments below, or simply type, "I see the mirror, and I'm ready to heal." Your story might just be the reflection someone else needs to feel understood. Let's continue forward, together. Number 2, haunted by history, when ancient baggage awakens. What if love didn't just stir your heart, but shattered the walls you built around it? That's the reality of a twin flame connection. It's not just a romance, it's a resurrection. When your twin enters your life, they don't merely see the version of you shaped by the present. They awaken the ghosts of every version you've ever been. Childhood fears you thought you outgrew. Ancestral pain passed through generations like blood. Betrayals from past lives, long buried in the soul's memory. All of it, every scar, every shadow, rises to the surface like smoke from a long dormant fire. Imagine your mind as a vast, creaking mansion. You've kept yourself in the safe, well-lit rooms, the ones you've cleaned, decorated, made presentable. But your twin doesn't linger in the foyer. They walk straight to the basement, the locked one, the one filled with cobwebs, forgotten screams, and fragments of who you were when you first learned fear. And they knock, not because they want to hurt you, but because they're the only one brave enough to see all of you. That knock shatters something inside. Your nervous system, in a flash, panics. "Run," it says. "This is too much." And so you ghost, you pause, you delay. Even a simple response to a message feels like standing in front of a firing squad. But this retreat isn't cowardice, it's survival. Your soul recognizes the truth, that this connection isn't here to comfort, it's here to cleanse. It doesn't come to offer sweet words and soft touches. It comes wielding the tools of spiritual surgery. It cuts deep, not to wound you, but to remove the rot. It exposes, not to shame you, but to free you. That's why it hurts. That's why silence feels easier than presence. Because real healing is not pretty. It demands a sacred pause, a space to breathe, a moment to break down before you break through. So no, they're not torturing you. And no, you're not broken for needing space. You're simply in the operating room of the soul. And though the room may look empty, it's full of divine work. This is what healing feels like when it's real, chaotic, overwhelming, and utterly sacred. Number 3, the dance of egos. When love wears a disguise, twin flame love doesn't stroke your ego, it strips it bare. This connection doesn't exist to validate your image of yourself, it exists to dismantle it. The ego, after all, thrives on control. It loves to curate a perfect persona, wear masks that win approval, and build narratives that keep us feeling safe. But your twin sees through all of it, instantly and effortlessly. That's why being in their presence can feel like emotional freefall. You forget how to breathe, not because of a lack of air, but because your ego suddenly loses its script. When the ego can't perform, it panics, it fights back, it starts deflecting, blaming, intellectualizing. It might say, "I'm too busy," or "this is too much," or "they don't really care." The dance begins. One twin pulls away, cool and aloof. The other chases, desperate and raw. Then the roles reverse. But this tug-of-war isn't between two souls. It's between two fragile egos, each terrified of being seen, each terrified of surrendering the last thread of control. In spiritual circles, the ego often hides behind beautiful language. We're not ready. If it's meant to be, the universe will bring us back together. These statements may sound wise, but often they're fear cloaked in sacred timing. They protect the ego from the terrifying vulnerability of truth. Because the truth is, love is already here. It's not waiting on stars to align or timelines to settle. The connection is alive, pulsing beneath the surface, aching to be felt fully. What's blocking it isn't fate, it's fear. It's the ego's death grip on its identity, on its desire to remain in control, to never feel out of its depth. But love, real love, is always out of depth. It doesn't operate on scripts. It doesn't perform. It just is. The only way to meet that kind of love is to drop the act, surrender the stories, and step nakedly into presence. No masks, no labels, no fear. Because in the end, twin flame union isn't found in chasing or retreating. It's found in surrender, in both souls setting down their armor and saying, I see you, and I'm still here. That's not just love, that's truth. If you've made it this far, it means something in these words stirred your heart, and maybe even cracked it open. That's the power of the twin flame journey. It forces us to look deeper, feel more honestly, and confront what we usually hide. Now, we invite you to be part of this unfolding story. Take a moment to reflect. Have you felt this dance of egos, this haunting mirror of love in your own life? Share your experience in the comments, no matter how messy or magical it feels. Or, if you're not ready to share just yet, simply type, I choose truth over fear in the comments below. Let it be your affirmation, your declaration, your quiet step towards surrender. Number 4, the alchemy of timing. Waiting without withering. You can't force a twin flame union into being, not with longing, not with effort, and certainly not with impatience. This isn't a love story that can be rushed. Trying to come together before both souls are ready is like handing the cockpit of a jet to toddlers. It's destined to crash. True union isn't about desire, it's about divine readiness. The universe doesn't use time to punish you, it uses it to prepare you. Every delay, every quiet season, every unanswered message is not a rejection. It's a sacred pause, a chance for you to become the person your soul was always meant to be. In the meantime, the signs don't stop. You'll hear that one song again. You'll dream of them on a random Tuesday. You'll see their name or birthday on a license plate when you're least expecting it. These aren't accidents. They're cosmic echoes, reminders that your story isn't finished, even if the pages seem blank right now. But here's the truth. You're not waiting for them to return. You're waiting for your own return to self. The deeper paradox of twin flame timing is that it's not passive. It's not about sitting still and hoping. It's about moving inward with fierce devotion, doing the work, reclaiming your power, healing what hurts, and learning how to stand whole. Because the love you're waiting for doesn't come to complete you. It comes to reflect the wholeness you've already reclaimed within. It won't rescue you from emptiness. It will meet you at fullness. So when you ask why the timing hasn't aligned, remember, divine love doesn't arrive late. It arrives when your soul finally says, I'm ready. Divine timing isn't delay, it's a sacred unfolding. And in that unfolding, you are becoming everything your future union needs. So don't just wait. Grow, rise, prepare. Because what's meant for you is never lost. It's simply aligning with the version of you who is ready to receive it. Imagine a young woman named Alina who met her twin flame during a spontaneous trip abroad. The connection was instant, magnetic, electric, undeniable. They spoke the same soul language without uttering many words. But soon after, he vanished without explanation. Alina was devastated, questioning everything, what she did wrong, why he left, if the love was even real. For months, she waited by her phone, replaying memories, searching for signs. But something within her slowly shifted. Instead of waiting for his return, she turned inward. She began therapy, started painting again, traveled solo, and rebuilt the confidence she had unknowingly lost. And then, years later, when she wasn't even looking, she bumped into him at a bookstore. He had changed too, gone through heartbreak, deep healing, and rediscovery. They were no longer broken pieces trying to merge. They were two whole beings, standing eye to eye, recognizing that their separation wasn't a detour, it was divine design. Their love hadn't been lost. It had simply needed time to mature. That's what sacred timing looks like. Love not rushed, but refined through the fire of becoming. Number 5. The sacred sound of silence. A love that speaks without words. Have you ever sat in the quiet and wondered if their silence means they've stopped caring? If the distance between you is a sign of disconnection rather than devotion? It's tempting to interpret the absence of words as emotional absence. But what if silence is not the end, but the echo of something sacred beginning to take form? Just like a master composer allows space between notes to let the melody breathe, your twin flame's silence may be the most powerful movement in your shared symphony. It's not the absence of love, it's the recalibration of something too profound to be rushed. Sometimes they withdraw not to hurt you, but to protect the fragile seeds that need solitude to grow. This isn't abandonment, it's transformation in disguise. That heavy ache in your chest, the lingering questions, the restless nights, they are not signs of a love lost, but signals that deep spiritual work is happening beneath the surface. All meaningful transformation begins in this tender, in-between space, the quiet chaos of becoming. This sacred pause is not where your connection dies. It's where it deepens. Some of the most profound conversations don't happen through words, but through energy, through dreams, through synchronicities, through a silence so thick you can feel their presence on the edge of your breath. And some healing requires distance, not to separate, but to give each soul the space to remember its truth. This is not the end of the story. It's the sacred interlude, the space where their soul is preparing, not disappearing, where your hearts align without contact, where roots take hold before the blossom. Your twin flame is not gone. They are walking through the inner terrain of awakening, clearing the space where reunion can finally flourish. So sit with the silence. Listen to what it's really saying. It may not be loud, but it is holy. It is not empty. It is full of becoming. And in that sacred stillness, love is not fading. It is preparing to rise. This journey was never about chasing or clinging. It was never about forcing someone back into your life. It's about becoming the version of yourself who doesn't need to force anything, because you've learned to trust everything, especially the silence, especially the space, especially the waiting. That silence you dread, it's not abandonment, it's initiation. It's the sacred ground where illusions fall away and your soul begins to speak louder than your fears. The twin flame path doesn't unfold in a straight line. It bends, loops, circles back, disappears, only to reappear stronger than before. There will be nights when all you have is the echo of what once was, and days when you suddenly feel them without reason. But that's the magic. That's the mystery. And that's what you're being asked to trust. Not a timeline, not a guarantee, but the sacred unfolding of your own becoming. So instead of asking when the silence will end, ask who you are becoming within it. Ask how you are loving yourself more deeply, more honestly, more fully. Ask how this journey is preparing you, not just to reunite with them, but to finally unite with your own soul. Because that's what makes reunion possible. The love you choose to live now. If this message stirred something within you, I invite you to leave a comment with the words, "I trust the silence because I trust my soul." Let that be your affirmation today. Let it echo beyond the screen and into the timeline you're calling home. And if this video brought you clarity, peace, or a sense of purpose, please like it, share it, and don't forget to watch the video below for the next part of this journey. Someone out there needs this message. Maybe that someone is you, or maybe it's the version of you who's still waiting to believe. Either way, keep walking. The story ends in love, because it begins with you.